I'm Human Design Holly, and I had 4 kids in 5 years. Today, we're going to be talking about manifestor kids and what it means to raise these very leadership-friendly, leadership-centric kids. The first thing to know is that manifestors are the pharaohs of the world. The pharaohs in ancient Egypt, on top the pyramid, they are here to inform and impact. There's a funny saying that Ra talked about from Human Design. He said that when parents, when the mothers give birth to these manifestor kids, it's like the oh shit baby. And that was so true with me. My manifestor is my oldest kid. And when she came out of me and I met her, there was this oh shit panic that happened because I intuitively knew that this was a kid who was, in one sense, uncontrollable, not here to listen to me. Manifestors have a very individual path. They do not need others to initiate their plans the way that 90% of the rest of us do. They are sort of in their own little world, and they do the things that they want to do and don't necessarily need other people to get them started. If they want to do something, they have the energy to just do it. Now, these are kids who might be labeled as oppositional. And what I can tell you about that is to think about how these manifestor kids would be perhaps thriving in a society or an environment or a community that was way less focused on power and structure. That a society, maybe a very small community, or hippies in the woods, or even maybe tribal communities, how your kid might function better in those type of societies, with the thinking that actually society is the one that needs to change and not your kid. So instead of trying to think, oh my gosh, how is my manifestor kid gonna survive here? Survive in capitalistic America, that's where you are. And feeling pressured like you have to smash them into this box of obedience. Think about how, maybe they're here to kick that box and knock those walls down. So manifestors are here to have an impact, and the structure of society can change, and your manifestor child may remain the same. Okay, so manifestors are here to have an impact, and they do that through initiating in their own time and place. It's kind of like the creation story with a traditional Christian background. Creation ex nihilo, right? Creation out of nothing. That is how a manifestor is able to operate. They can initiate out of nowhere, where the rest of the 90% of us involve other energy needing to step forward for us to either respond to or for us to be invited into. The manifestors are here to just do it. So it is going to be helpful for your manifestor kids to know that they do have an impact, that they do greatly influence society and their community and their family that they're living in. So as we're parenting these kids, believe it or not, we are actually going to train them to begin thinking about practicing informing other people. Because what happens when manifestors are adults, they will be informing their partners or their coworkers about what they are doing. They're not going to be asking permission. They need to know that their energy and the things that they do have an impact on other people on a level that 90% of the other kids born aren't having that kind of impact. So instead of Noelle going and grabbing the lemons, like the whole bag of lemons, and when I'm at work in the office and she like goes and sets up this whole lemonade stand kind of situation, and then I come out an hour later and it's all set up and ready to go, but I had other plans for those lemons. It would have been better for her to say, hey mom, can I use the lemons? Now listen, I know that this is kind of parenting 101. There's a very subtle difference in parenting manifestors than there is in parenting 90% of the other kids. So in that situation with the lemons, I would train Noelle to ask me first, hey mom, can I use these lemons to go make a lemonade stand? Now, in training the manifestor kids, this is the subtle difference. So most parents do well by asking their kids yes or no questions. 70% of kids are of the generator genre, and they have defined sacral guts that can really respond to the yes or no questions. Manifestors are not here to be asked to do things necessarily. Rather, as parents, we can inform them. So they're asking us permission and we are informing them. Hey, Noelle, the dishwasher needs to be unloaded in the next hour. I'm going to sit back and let her step up to unload that dishwasher when she has the energy to do that. So it's actually more important than any other kid type. It's more important that manifestors feel in control of their own actions. Which is why my 17-year-old manifestor, Noelle, has some trauma because we raised her in a cult, in an evangelical cult where it was obey and submit or else we spank you. And unfortunately, she's still carrying some of that around and is somewhat stunted in her initiating because it was beat out of her. So manifestor kids who perhaps grew up in military or evangelical homes that, had the books about sparing the rod, spoiling the child, super destructive for manifestor kids, way more, especially if they are girls. So, like I said, the manifestor child is taught to ask permission, and we as parents are informing them of what needs to happen without asking. So I don't ask Noelle, could you unload the dishwasher? I say, Noelle, the dishwasher needs to be unloaded before you go to bed. Noelle, the cat box needs to be cleaned out, and I did it last night. And there can be that pause for them to decide if they want to do it or not, and or when they want to do it, and for them to have a conversation back if they want to. Sometimes it's just me informing her and then I walk away and do something else. So it is very unique parenting manifestors. And the thing is, we want these kids to understand that they do have an impact on society, and we want them to have a healthy impact in a positive way. So, not being little tyrants, and they're not going to be little tyrants if they actually are feeling the love and support from their caregivers rather than, you know, being crammed into this box of obedience. That is when the manifestor is going to possibly lash out and become an unhealthy person by trying to fit into society or trying to fit into a family structure that is unsupportive of their energy type and their energy flow. I'd love it if you had some questions so that I can give you some more specific examples of things that we've done. Noelle was 12 when I started, when I got introduced to human design, 12-ish, and now she's 17, and she has her own thoughts about parenting, and maybe we can have her on. She's done some videos with me before, but anyway, if you have questions, please leave them in the comments.